Have you ever noticed this? Some people can hurt you without even raising their voice, and somehow days later you're still hearing them in your head. Not because they're powerful, not because you're weak, but because they still have access to you, access to your attention, access to your emotions, access to your nervous system. And here's the brutal truth most people don't realize until it's too late. The more you try to prove your point, the more you feed the very person who's trying to control you. You explain, you defend, you replay the conversation in the shower. You type the long text message, delete it, type it again. You tell yourself, next time I'll stand up for myself. But next time comes and somehow you're right back in the same loop. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into work or a family dinner or a relationship conversation and felt your whole mood change just because one person showed up? Like your peace depends on what they say. Like your confidence depends on whether they approve. Like you can't fully breathe until they're satisfied. That's not love. That's not respect. That's emotional control. And toxic people don't fear your anger. They don't fear you getting louder. What scares them is when you stop being predictable, when they can't push your buttons anymore, when they realize they no longer have a key to your mind. In this video, I'm going to show you a quiet kind of power, 6 silent behaviors that don't create drama, but remove access. No fights, no speeches, no revenge, just you becoming the kind of person they can't manipulate because they can't reach you anymore. Let's start with the first shift. Let's start with the real reason this works, because you're not too sensitive. You're just exhausted from being pulled into a storm you didn't create. It usually doesn't look dramatic at first. It looks like a random comment in a group chat that makes your stomach drop. A coworker smiling a little too hard while saying, "Wow, bold choice," when you share an idea in a meeting. A family member at the dinner table leaning back and saying, "Relax, I'm just joking," right after they hit you where it hurts. And you feel it in your body before you even think about it. Your shoulders tighten, your jaw locks, your mind starts sprinting, trying to find the perfect words, the perfect tone, the perfect explanation that will finally make them understand. So you do what most good-hearted people do. You try to be fair. You try to be calm. You try to communicate like an adult. You replay the moment while brushing your teeth. You rehearse what you should have said while driving home. You send the long message that starts with, "Hey, I just want to clear the air." And the next thing you know, you've spent your whole evening donating your peace to someone who never deserved it. Here's what I've learned the hard way. Toxic people don't win because they have better arguments. They win because they know how to hijack your nervous system. They press a button, guilt, shame, jealousy, your fear, and your body reacts like it's an emergency. That reaction becomes their proof. If you explain, they say you're defensive. If you stay quiet, they say you're disrespectful. If you set a boundary, they say you've changed, you're cold, you're selfish, and now you're not even talking about what happened anymore. You're trapped in something deeper, trying to protect your image, your goodness, your worth. In Buddhism, there's a simple idea. Suffering doesn't only come from pain, it comes from clinging. Clinging to being understood, clinging to being seen as the good one, clinging to the hope that if you say it perfectly, they'll finally stop. But a toxic person isn't listening for truth. They're listening for access. Access to your attention, access to your emotions, access to the part of you that still believes you have to earn peace by staying polite. And I know if you grew up in a home where you were taught to keep the peace, to respect elders, to not embarrass the family, this hits even harder. Because your heart doesn't want conflict. Your heart wants harmony. But harmony without boundaries isn't peace. It's just quiet suffering. So if you've been feeling drained, confused, constantly overthinking, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been trying to win a game that was designed to keep you running. And the moment you stop running, everything changes. Now let me show you the first shift that breaks the pattern. It starts with a simple idea that sounds almost too modern to be spiritual, but it's everything. Some people don't control you with power. They control you with access, emotional access. It's like they have a remote control to your nervous system. They don't even need to be in the room. They just press one button and your heart rate changes. Your mood drops. Your mind starts racing like you're late for something important. You can feel it when it happens. You're standing in line at Target, holding a coffee, and your phone lights up with their name. No message yet, just their name, and your chest tightens anyway. You're having a good day until you remember the look they gave you, that little smirk, that pause, that wow they said in that tone, and suddenly your peace is gone, like someone walked into your house without knocking. That's emotional access. It's not about what they said being logical. It's not even about whether they're right. It's about the fact that they can reach inside you and move things around. They can pull guilt out of you. They can pull self-doubt out of you. They can pull that old childhood fear out of you, the fear of being too much or not enough or a problem. And here's the deep part most people miss. You don't lose your power because they're persuasive. You lose your power because your body thinks you're in danger. When someone has emotional access to you, your nervous system treats their moods like weather. If they're cold, you freeze. If they're angry, you panic. If they're silent, you spiral. And now you're not living your life, you're monitoring theirs. That's why you can know someone is toxic and still feel pulled in, because knowing is in your mind. But emotional access lives in your body. In Buddhism, we'd call this attachment, chup. Not attachment to the person, but attachment to the feeling of needing closure, needing approval, needing things to be resolved so you can finally breathe. And toxic people sense that. They sense you care. They sense you want to do the right thing. They sense you don't want to hurt anyone. So they keep finding ways back into your head, not with truth, but with vibration, with tension, with emotional noise. But here's the hope. This is the part I want you to really feel. You don't have to harden your heart to protect it. You don't have to become cold to become strong. All you have to do is stop giving people unlimited access, not with a fight, with a shift, with presence, with boundaries that are quiet but final. And once you understand that, the next steps become simple because the goal isn't to win against them. The goal is to take your life back, one moment of calm at a time. Let's talk about the first silent behavior that starts shutting the door. Let's talk about the first silent behavior that starts shutting the door. Because once you realize this is about access, the solution becomes surprisingly simple. You don't need a perfect comeback. You don't need to set them straight. You don't need to prove you're right. You need two quiet principles, two moves that feel small in the moment, but change the entire power dynamic. The first one is this. Stop feeding the reaction. Toxic people are not looking for a conversation. They're looking for a response, a facial expression, a long paragraph, a shaky voice. Oh, wait, that's not what I meant. A late night apology you didn't owe. They throw out a little hook, something sharp, something unfair, something designed to sting, and then they wait. You can almost feel it like they're watching you in their mind. Are you going to bite? Are you going to explain? Are you going to chase their approval? And if you do, they win, even if you're right, because now your nervous system is on their schedule. This is how emotional manipulation works. It trains you to react first and think later. It turns your attention into their paycheck. The moment you respond from heat instead of clarity, you've already handed them the steering wheel. So the practice is not be strong. The practice is be empty, not empty like numb, empty like the Buddha's teaching of non-attachment. Bong. You let the hook pass through you. Sometimes your most powerful move is a quiet breath, a neutral face, and a sentence so short it feels almost insulting to your old self. I hear you. Okay, noted. No defense, no debate, no energy donation. Now the second principle. You control the pace. This is where your power becomes visible without you ever raising your voice. Toxic people rush you. They push for an immediate reaction because speed creates mistakes. Speed creates emotion. Speed creates openings. They want you responding in the car, in the hallway, between meetings, with your heart racing and your mind scattered. So you slow the world down. You pause for 2 seconds longer than feels natural. You let the silence sit in the air like weight. You blink. You breathe. You stay grounded. And when you finally speak, you don't match their chaos. You choose calm. You can say, I'm not discussing this right now. I'll think about it and get back to you. That doesn't work for me. And if they push, you don't explain more. You repeat less, because here's the truth. The person who controls the pace controls the power. If they can't speed you up, they can't shake you. So this is your new system. 2 moves. Don't feed the reaction. Control the pace. That's how you close the door without slamming it. That's how you keep your kindness and still protect your peace. And now I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like in real life, word for word, so you can use it the next time someone tries to pull you back into the drama. And now I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like in real life, word for word, so you can use it the next time someone tries to pull you back into the drama. Picture this. It's Monday morning, fluorescent lights, half-warm coffee, your laptop is open, your notes are ready, and you finally work up the courage to share an idea in a team meeting. You say it clearly, calm, professional. And then Ryan, always Ryan, leans back in his chair, smirks, and goes, "Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know we were just throwing out random thoughts now." A couple people laugh, not because it's funny, but because they don't want the awkwardness to land on them. And in that moment, you feel your face get hot, your chest tightens, your mind starts building a whole courtroom argument. You want to say, actually, I have data. You want to say, that was unnecessary. You want to defend your intelligence like your life depends on it. But you remember the practice. Don't feed the reaction. Control the pace. So you pause 2 seconds, long enough to make the air heavy. You look at him, not angry, not scared, just present. And you say, soft and steady, noted. Then you turn back to the screen and continue, like his comment was a mosquito that didn't even land. Or if you want a slightly stronger version, you say, I'm open to feedback on the idea, not on the tone. And then you stop. You don't explain. You don't justify. You let silence do the work, because when you don't chase their approval, their little performance has nowhere to go. Now here's a different scene. It's not a meeting. It's your phone. You're cooking dinner, finally relaxed, and a text comes in from someone you've been trying so hard to understand, someone who goes cold, then warm, then cold again. The message says, you're overreacting. I was joking. You're always so sensitive. And you feel that old pressure rise up, like you have to prove you're not crazy, like you have to argue your feelings into being valid. But listen closely. This is where emotional access lives, in the urgency. So you slow it down. You put the phone face down. You take one breath. You feel your feet on the floor. And when you respond, you don't debate their intention. You say, I'm not arguing about what you meant. I'm telling you how it landed. If it happens again, I'll be stepping back. That's it. Short, clean, final. And if they come back with, wow, okay, guess I can't say anything around you, you don't rush to fix it. You say, correct. You can't speak to me like that. Then you go back to your life. Do you see what just happened? You didn't get louder. You didn't get mean. You just stopped negotiating your dignity. That's bong. Not giving up on yourself, letting go of the need to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you. And when you practice this, something beautiful starts happening. Your heart stays softer. Your mind stays clearer. Your peace becomes yours again. And that's when toxic people start feeling nervous, because they realize they can't reach you the way they used to. And that's when toxic people start feeling nervous, because they realize they can't reach you the way they used to. And I want you to really hear this, because it can change your whole life. You don't have to make them afraid of you. You just have to become someone they no longer have access to. Not because you're cold, not because you're mean, but because you finally respect your own mind enough to protect it. The old version of you tried to survive by explaining, by softening your words, by choosing the perfect tone, the perfect timing, the perfect message that would make them treat you like a human being. But the truth is, people who live off control don't respond to clarity. They respond to boundaries. And boundaries don't need to be loud. Sometimes the strongest boundary is a pause, a calm face, a short sentence, a decision you make quietly inside your own chest. When you stop feeding the reaction and you start controlling the pace, you're not just changing a conversation, you're retraining your nervous system. You're teaching your body, I am safe. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to earn peace. I can choose peace. In Buddhism, that's a form of liberation, Jai thought. Not escaping the world, escaping the mental prison of needing someone's approval to feel okay. And I know this isn't easy. If you've been the peacemaker your whole life, If you were taught to respect everyone, to keep harmony, to not make things messy, then setting boundaries can feel like you're doing something wrong. But you're not doing something wrong. You're finally doing something honest. So here's your 7-day challenge. Keep it simple, no pressure, just practice. For the next 7 days, choose one situation, just one where you usually get pulled into the drama: a coworker, a family member, a text thread, a relationship conversation, and practice these 2 silent moves. Number 1, don't feed the reaction. Number 2, control the pace. That means you pause 2 seconds longer than usual. You say less than you want to say. You repeat your boundary instead of explaining it. And when your mind starts begging you to fix it, to overthink it, to chase closure, you breathe, you let it pass, you buông. Because peace doesn't come from winning arguments. Peace comes from refusing to abandon yourself. If this spoke to you, I want you to leave one word in the comments: calm. Just that, calm. And if you know someone who's stuck in that exhausting loop, share this with them. Not to shame anyone, just to remind them they're not crazy, they're waking up. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of quiet strength: practical, real, and grounded. May you be protected, may you be clear, may you be free. And remember, the calm one is the powerful one. You've got this.